Hi everybody, I'm Tim from troutandfeather.com, and as you can see, we have a special guest for this fly fishing Q&A. It's Mr. Rich Ferrara, and we're welcoming him back. Welcome back, Rich.
Thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. Really glad to have you back.
Yep.
I featured Rich before with some fly tying videos, but now I'm going to pick his brain because, as many of you probably don't know, Rich has been fly fishing for over 20 years.
Yep.
But recently, in the last 4 or 5 years, he's jumped into competitive fly fishing, and he has learned a ton from that. So what he is going to do, and what I'm going to pick from this brain of his, I'm going to find 3 pieces of information that will make you instantly better fly fishermen. Basically, information that he's learned from the competitive fly fishing world that you can apply back into general fly fishing. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, everybody, you are going to love this one. Stay tuned. Before we get started, I want to share that I am not a competitive fly fisherman, but I know we can learn so much from them. So, without any further ado, give us tip number 1.
Okay, so tip number 1, I think this is probably the most important one. It's just be thorough, cover your water. Previously, before I had started, competitive fly fishing, I would go to the stream, I'd pick the water that I thought looked the best, I would fish it. I'd just walk, forever until I found more water that looked like that. But through competing, we get what's called a beat, and it's 250 yards of water, and we have to fish that for 2 hours or so. And in 2 hours to fish 250 yards of water, you learn to kind of just pick apart everything that's in front of you, and it's amazing how many fish you find in that water that you would have normally walked through. So just get comfortable fishing everything. Be thorough, get a few good drifts, here and there, change flies, and cover your water.
Awesome first tip. The only story I'll kind of jump in and I'll share, there was a major hatch in Pennsylvania years ago. It was called the cicada hatch. And they hatch every, I believe it's 17 years. And I happened to be on this stream in central Pennsylvania, and I was fishing. And I had moved out to my typical fishing spot, basically just like Rich is saying. And as I was fishing, I heard this giant slurp behind me. But it was right where you walk into the water.
Yep.
There would be no reason for a fish to be there. So I just ignored it. I kept fishing in the fishy spots, or so I thought.
Yep.
After a while, I heard it again, so I just decided to turn around, make a cast, and I caught the largest brown trout that I'd ever caught on that stream in that spot that I had walked over 30 minutes prior. Yep. So, Rich, awesome first tip.
Yep.
Let's move on and see what else he has for us.
See what we can come up with.
Okay, Rich, tip number 2.
Yeah, so tip number 2 would be go out and fish on days you wouldn't normally go out and fish. Go when it's really cold. Go when the water's really high, go when it's, windy, just conditions you would normally stay home. Sometimes you go out on those days and, you're really surprised with, how the fish are behaving. You catch a lot, you have a really successful day. And the competitions that we've fished, it takes a lot for one to get canceled. So we, we're forced to go out and fish on those days when you normally wouldn't go. So if you can, get comfortable going on days like that, it's amazing, what you'll be rewarded with, because the crowds are almost non-existent and the fish are still eating. So go out and fish on days you wouldn't normally go.
Perfect. I love that tip. We have one more remaining. All right, last one. What do you got for us?
Okay, so competitive fly fishing people always just draw the parallel with like, oh, these guys are just nymph fishing. Get comfortable with fishing other things like, streamer fishing, dry fly fishing, all that stuff. When you go out in a day and, I know the Euro thing is super popular and with good reason, it's very effective, but competitors aren't always nymph fishing. We fish a lot of dry flies, we fish, streamers, we fish, wet flies, things like that. So don't neglect some of those other methods of catching fish. Go out and, practice with that stuff. Try to figure out a way to fish a dry fly on your Euro leader, fish, a streamer, fish 2 streamers, do that kind of stuff too, because it's been effective for a very long time and it's going to be effective for a very long time. So don't neglect the stuff aside from nymph fishing.
That's a really great one. I'm curious, because I know that you do compete.
Mm-hmm.
Think about some of those competitors that compete at a high level.
Yep.
Would you say the reason that they are really at that high level is because their fishing is so well-rounded, or is it something else?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, those guys, there's not too many anglers that can do all these things just, kind of at will. And the guys that are at that top level, they're excellent, very well-rounded anglers. I think, that really contributes to their success. And And also just, another thing those guys do is, they don't make, nearly the mistakes that, the other anglers, like myself, we make regularly.
He
And
doesn't make that many.
Those guys, they're just, they're on point with what they do, and they have a plan and they stick with it and are able to execute and
just kind of go through that realm
Yep.
with all those styles.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome to know, because I know so many people out there, whenever we think about competitive fly fishing, and again, I've never even gone to an event, but whenever I think about it, I have had that misconception that it's just jig nymphs, and it's not that.
Nope.
I love that last tip.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Those were just incredible pieces of advice. And remember, the intent of this video is to basically share some competitive fly fishing strategies with all of us that are into general fly fishing. And I believe Rich did that. Rich, I'm sure someone out there, though, is saying, I want to get into competitive fly fishing. What would you recommend to them?
Sure. Go online, go to nationalflyfishing.org and flycomps.com. Ben True and Ken Crane both worked very hard to make the league what it is. Those guys, they deserve all the credit in the world for that. So go there, check it out. It'll give you the rundown of where to sign up for the events, how to get your league passes, everything like that. There are quite a few pretty strict rules that competitors have to follow. There will be a link to the rules on the National Fly Fishing website and stuff like that. So if you're interested in it, go there and check that out, and hopefully see you guys out on the water.
That's really cool. Just like a whole other realm of fly fishing. That's what makes this sport just so incredible. There's so many different avenues we can all take. Well, thank you again. I'm sure somebody out there wants to reach out and ask you some more questions. How can people contact you?
Yep. Feel free to send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. My Instagram handle is at Rich_Ferrara. And my Facebook, you can find me on Facebook. Just type in my name, you'll find me.
All right, perfect. I'll put those down below in the description of this video, and I'll also put links to the websites that he really referenced regarding competitive fly fishing. Rich, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's a blast having him on these videos. And if you'd like to watch more videos like this, you can check out my website, which is troutandfeather.com. Once there, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can insert your email address and receive monthly email updates with tips, techniques, pictures, and new video updates. And I thank you ahead of time for doing so. If you're into social media, you can find Trout and Feather on Facebook, on Instagram, and just a little bit on Snapchat. We have to snap something out for today.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to do something. You're not going to see it today, but
either,
we're doing it today, like right now, as soon as this video is done.
Yep.
If you have any questions or comments, you can email me at tcammisa@gmail.com, or you can leave them down below in the comments section of this video. Rich, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank all of you for watching, and I'll see all of you next time.
Cheers.